Did Putin just assassinate his biggest opposition? Israel is preparing to attack Rafa, and Egypt and the rest of the world is not happy, but they want to finish off Hamas. Russia is now threatening nuclear attack against America and Europe if they don't win in Ukraine. And scientists are getting ready to debut, y'all, a baby, real, resurrected woolly mammoth. And AI experts are saying it cannot be stopped by humans, and we may only have 3 years left. That and much more coming at you tonight on the Big Picture Live. Let's do it. Oh, yeah, it is the Big Picture Live. We're going to bring in the Queen right now, and the crowd always goes crazy for her. Here she comes. Here she comes. The crowd is going crazy.
All right. So glad to be back. Yeehaw! Woo!
Hey, why do they not ever clap like that for me? That's the question.
Well, obviously they like me better than you. Just kidding.
No, you're right. It is actually right. They do like you better than me.
I doubt it, but I'm glad to be here anyway.
I like you better, babe.
I love it. One of the reasons I love being here is because of my wide awake coffee.
Oh, yes,
it's
yes.
like a special in-show treat.
Yes, because that's the only time we drink it, because we can't afford it.
It's really the only time. But it is like a special treat while we're hanging out with friends, while we're trying to,
Yes.
I hate to say this, but wade through the news.
Yes.
It's sometimes not amazing and glorious.
Right.
It's sometimes a little tough. So
It is tough.
It's
Yep.
better. It makes it easier and more enjoyable to,
Yes, it
to go
does.
through it with friends and wide awake coffee.
Absolutely. And if you have not smashed that like button, smash it, smash it, smash it. And if you're watching us on Rumble, then you can also smash the like button there as well. And you can follow us on Rumble. And if you don't follow us on Rumble, we're trying to build the Rumble Big Picture family. All you have to do is go to rumble.com/Larry Ragland, rumble.com/Larry Ragland. When you do that, you'll be able to help us build not the backup. Listen, I don't want people to think, if you watch us on Rumble, we don't look at you as an alternative and a backup. They're just as much as part of the Big Picture family as the YouTube family.
Part.
But we understand that if there's anything left that's First Amendment, free speech, that's going to be there.
Yes.
So help us build there. So, Sandy, let's get right into the first news hour. It's breaking news at the time of us coming on live tonight. Today, and I think it might have been last night, but today, reports came out that Putin's number one opposition has exited this earth.
Do not cross the man, okay?
Do not cross the man. All right, so let's listen to this. There we go.
We have new details on the death of Russian opposition leader Alexi Navalny this morning. The director of Navalny's Anti-Corruption Foundation says Russian prison officials told the late activist's mother that Navalny died of sudden death syndrome, and his body will not be given to the family until an investigation has been completed. The Russian Federal Prison Service says Navalny lost consciousness after a Friday walk. Navalny had been serving a 19-year prison sentence on extremism charges since returning to Russia after recovering from a poisoning, which he blamed on Russian President Vladimir Putin, who has denied those allegations. Robert Sherman has the latest from overseas. Robert, are Navalny supporters afraid of being locked up in the wake of his death, I'd imagine?
And I believe the report goes on to say that over 300 supporters of, how you say his name, Navali, has been arrested as they're protesting.
Navalny. So he was already, I'm sorry. I'm trying to go back and rehash what I just heard. He died of, I guess we can call this a new thing, sudden death syndrome. I've heard of sudden adult death syndrome in our country.
Right. Yeah.
But he was serving 19 years.
A 19 years prison sentence.
But he had previously recovered from
being poisoned. Yeah, that he accused Putin of doing that. Of course, Putin says I had nothing to do with that.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah, and he dies suddenly after taking a walk, and they're calling it sudden death syndrome. And we all know that term did not come about until the WAW.
Yeah.
And we're seeing sudden death. So they're blaming it sort of on that. But here's what I want you to see.
And this was not an older person.
No. He was in excellent health.
Right, but he was still maybe 50. He didn't look old. I didn't see the age, but my goodness.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So let's listen to what the vice president said here.
Whatever story they tell, let us be clear Russia is responsible.
And we should hold Putin accountable.
Now, I want you to understand what you're about to hear. I'm going to go back. I'm going to just play it all the way through. But all these world leaders are commenting on the death of this man. But watch how they tie it to, so therefore, we need to make sure we send money to Ukraine. That's what this is all about. Listen to the wording.
Accountable.
Russia is responsible.
And we should hold Putin accountable for this. And no one should be in any doubt about the dreadful nature of Putin's regime in Russia after what has just happened.
I think the proper reaction is a reaffirmation of complete unified support for Ukraine, to give Ukraine the weapons and the money it needs to win this war, and Russia needs to lose this war. We need to stop the aggression.
All right.
You heard that last.
So did you hear that?
Yeah.
So the proper response to the death of this man is more money for Ukraine. Yeah.
So on that note, talking about Ukraine, I can't remember who I was listening to the other day. We've sent $200 billion before the 95.
Well, we hadn't proved that yet. That was just the Senate.
Right.
I think the House is going to kill it, but I think it's
before this 95 came up.
100-something billion. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100-something billion before this 95. Yeah. And then the answer to this is just like every school shooting, every mass shooting, the answer is take away the guns every single time. That's always the narrative.
Yes.
Now the narrative is anything to do with Putin, anything to do with Russia.
Send more money.
More money.
Send more money.
To Ukraine. To Ukraine.
Yeah.
And he comes out today, and I'm going to show you later on the show tonight that he just says, listen, you need to know something. While you're trying to make Ukraine win this war, if we lose this war, we're coming after you. And he's like, we're not going to lose this war. So I know we shouldn't be intimidated and scared of Russia, but he's making it very clear there is no option for us not to win this war. We're going to win this war. And if you think you're going to defeat us, you're drawing us into something you don't want to draw us into.
Here we go with the words again.
Yeah. So Alexi Navali's wife lashes out at Vladimir Putin, saying he killed my husband. He accused Russian authorities of using extremely deadly Russian nerve agent Novichok to kill her husband, Alexei Navalny. This is his wife. She has accused Russian authorities of killing her husband with the nerve agent famously used in the 2018 Salisbury attack in the UK. In a video statement posted on YouTube, his wife said that her late husband's body is being hidden as Russian authorities wait for, quote, traces of yet another Putin's Novichok to disappear from their body. She went on to say, my husband could not be broken, and that's exactly why Putin killed him. Shameful, cowardly, not daring to look into his eyes or simply even say his name. And as vile and cowardly they are hiding his body, and they are not showing it, not giving it to his mother, and they are pathologically lying and waiting for the traces of yet another Putin's poison to disappear.
My goodness. She might need to be a little careful herself.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
She's on the list now.
Oh, my goodness. That is horrible. But guess what? It's coming out, and we all feel more liberty and freedom to speak, and have it go over the airwaves and go on the internet, and so many people can see it. But how many people have come to their end, met their end in similar ways through the years, and nobody heard it, nobody knew about it, because it was too dangerous, number one, to speak out. And even if you did, you didn't have the platforms and the outlets that people would hear what you had to say. This has been going on a long time. It's nothing new. It's just that now we have the ability for more and more people to hear about it, and then they can take it and they can use it in a myriad of ways, as the officials in our country are trying to do.
Absolutely. Yeah. And everything is so political now, and everything is so agenda driven.
Right.
And on this show and in our lives now, we just literally can't believe anything you hear. So, you go all the way back to Epstein, you go all these people in our country and other countries around the world. Mm-hmm. All we really know is the narrative that they tell us.
Exactly.
And we don't know what happened.
Because, the wife, she could have her own agenda.
Exactly.
We can't prove it
We
either
don't know.
way.
Yeah, we don't know.
So there's a lot going on with that.
Yep, there's a lot going on in the Middle East, and Israel has not heeded the United Nations and pressures of the United States and others to relent. They have set a date for the Rafa offensive with an ultimatum for Hamas. War cabinet members warn there's an onslaught coming. It will begin in 3 weeks. Now listen, this is how you can end it, Hamas, unless all the hostages are released. Now, of course, they're not going to do that because they're using them as, leverage.
And I'm sure we've discussed before, what if all the hostages cannot be released because they're no longer here. They're no longer with us.
Yeah, exactly. Israel has threatened to invade Gaza's Rafa by the start of Ramadan if Hamas does not return the remaining hostages in a dark ultimatum condemned by international observers. The United States and other governments, as well as the United Nations, have issued increasingly urgent appeals to Israel to call off its planned offensive in Rafah, where 3/4 of the displaced Palestinian population has fled. Some 1.2 million are now taking shelter in sprawling tent encampments without access to adequate food, water, and medicine in the city that used to be home to just 250,000 people. Wow. But the Israeli government said the city on the Egypt border is the last remaining stronghold in Gaza of the Palestinian militant group Hamas. Now,
does this story include a map that we can throw up? I don't remember.
Not sure.
But you're talking about
this is
5 times the amount of people that would normally be in this city.
Yes.
Because they've had to flee where they were. And they're in tents, like you said. They don't have adequate water and sewage and medicines and, the comforts and the necessities of life. And I cannot imagine what living conditions would be.
Well, here's my question, okay? And it's, I guess, easy for me to say this, but you are on the border of Egypt. Egypt is saying, don't do this because it's a declaration of war with us if you do this. But here's my question. If the purpose is to, and I'm parsing my words here, to take care of innocent lives that are not involved in Hamas, and they're all gathered, they've all ran here, they run as far as they can go. Why have they ran as far as they can go? Why can't they go any further? Yeah. Because if you go any further, guess where you are? Egypt.
Exactly.
Egypt. Why will you not allow any of them in? They've openly said none. Yeah, none of you are welcome.
They don't want them. And this is not a new thing. They've been saying this for probably since October.
Yep.
So this is so we're talking about 3 weeks.
3 weeks. Wow. Ramadan. And you think Ramadan, it's, I hate to say it this way, but what you sow, you shall reap. And usually they attack Israel during Israel's feasts, and then Ramadan, of course, is a time of fasting in the Muslim faith and other kinds of things like this. And they're just trying to say, look, we know Ramadan's coming. We're letting you know in advance. Israel didn't get that. No. They're telling them in advance. Look, we're giving you 3 weeks to make a decision here. All you have to do is give us the rest, and they understand that could mean the bodies. Yeah. Give us the hostages so that we can tell the families that we've put closure on that. But yet the whole world don't even talk about the hostages. They just talk about what Israel is doing.
Because you're talking about essentially 5 months since this whole thing began, right?
Right, October.
And they want the hostages back. I know that's a big part of this. That's their leverage. Obviously, even if they were all still alive and well, they don't want to give those hostages back. That's their leverage, or part of their leverage anyway. Yeah. But this could become very, very nasty. More nasty than it's already been. Yeah,
and just on the tail end of that, Netanyahu has rebuked Biden's proposal of a Palestinian state. While all this is going, they're being pushed for a Palestinian state. Yeah. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has urged President Joe Biden not to, quote, reward terrorism by recognizing a Palestinian state following a recent massacre. The two leaders discussed a range of issues, including a new hostage deal, humanitarian aid for Gaza, and potential military operations. Netanyahu and Biden had a 40-minute phone conversation. Boy, I'd like to listen to that one. Discussing various issues, including the potential recognition of a Palestinian state, which Netanyahu vehemently opposes. The Israeli prime minister stated that recognition of a Palestinian state in the wake of the October 7th massacre would be a reward for terrorism and would hinder future peace settlements. The relationship between Biden and Netanyahu has been strained recently, with disagreements over military operations and the handling of civilian casualties in the Gaza Strip.
Yeah, for them to have a 40-minute phone conversation when they have not even been communicating what we were told at all, that must have been extremely uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I think
tough to do.
And I think it's because they feel a sense of urgency that, Israel has always sort of sought the permission of America before they ever done anything.
Yes.
I mean, how many times have we heard in our lifetime, in our marriage, just watching the regular news, they're wanting to do something to Hezbollah. They're wanting to do something here or there, and they've sought the opinion of America. Well, you know what? Because of many things that we won't go down that rabbit hole tonight, because of cognizance of our president and all this kind of stuff, and then you factor in how they've turned against Israel, and they're no longer supporting them the way our country always has. Israel is like, okay, we're going to be nice. We're going to still try to include you, and we'd like to hear we'd love to have you on our side, but make no mistake about it. We are our own sovereign country, and we're going to protect our people. And if you don't want to join forces with us, that's on you. That's where we're going.
Wow. Oh, my goodness.
Yep. Well, in the midst of all of that, going back to Russia, as I said earlier, Russia has made the threat, Vladimir Putin has made the threat of nuclear warfare. And we see that nuclear threat is now Russia says they will drop the entire arsenal that they have on London and Washington if it doesn't win the Ukrainian war. Whoa. Top Putin ally warns West of striving for a Ukrainian victory, warning that would lead to nuclear strikes on Kiev, Berlin, London, and Washington, as well as an apocalyptic civil war in Russia with tens of millions dead. Deputy Chairman of the Russian Security Council, Dmitry Medvedev, who was also
Medvedev.
Thank you. In fact, from now on, I'm going to say Deputy Chairman, Russian Security Council,
Medvedev.
Thank you. who was also formerly the Prime Minister and President of Russia in service to Vladimir Putin, has threatened Western capitals with the entire strategic arsenal of Russian nuclear weapons, for whom they've absolutely no slight is too small to necessitate a nuclear response, was speaking of Ukraine's hope to retake its UN-recognized national territory, which in some cases have been occupied by Russia for very close to 10 years.
And I know these are words and language again, but if you just sit and think about it, this could be particularly unnerving if what we hear is true, that Russia is so much farther along than we are and more advanced in their weaponry and their technologies that, they've been trying to perfect over these last decades while we were asleep at the wheel.
Yeah.
We got lazy.
We got lazy.
And we did not respect that other countries in the world could and would blow past us.
Yeah. Well, I have still yet to, and I'm seriously embarrassed that I have not had the time to watch the entire 2-hour interview that Tucker Carlson did. But I've seen several sections just cut up. And one of the sections that's cut up that he said, he talked about the hypersonic missiles.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah. He openly said, we've got this that you don't have. I mean, he openly said to America, I want to remind you, we have a technology that you can't shoot down.
Yeah, and we've talked about this many times. And if you've not heard us talk about this before, the same people that, clued us in that this is what's going on will go farther to say, there's no way we can catch up to them now. And as if that's not enough, it's not just Russia, it's China.
Yeah.
What all do they have?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
well, we're going to show you one thing in just a minute that China has that is scarier than any kind of hypersonic weapon, anything that's even nuclear weapon.
That's great.
Yay. We want to say thank you to all of our partners, everybody that supports us monthly, one-time gifts. We appreciate it so much. You don't know what it means to us to know that you care enough to do that. And all you got to do that is go to LarryRagland.com and click partner with us, and you'll see how to do that. Or you can click the join button right down below this screen if you watch it on YouTube. And for $5 a month, you can support the Big Picture Live here. But, one other thing, talking about the advancement of this war, so many things that were promised and so many things that was said would never happen. We're learning more and more you can't trust what they say because they don't really mean what they say. Watch this. Look at this. Biden administration is now saying that the United States may give Ukraine long-range missiles that can actually strike Russia. What?
Oh, boy.
It has been revealed that the United States may provide Ukraine with long-range ballistic missiles as part of the latest foreign aid package making its way through Congress, despite promises from the president that this course of action would not be taken given the risk of escalation. While the Biden administration has sent a slew of U.S. development tactical weapons to the war-torn nation, they have thus far only been older medium-range models. This would mark the first time those capable of flying over 300 kilometers and striking targets in Russian-controlled Crimea were provided. So now we're beginning to turn and say, we continue to say, if we don't help Ukraine win the war, then we'll be fighting Russia on our own homeland. Well, watch this. We're already fighting Russia. We have people. Putin also said, and I know you can't believe him, he's a liar, but we've had people, American intelligence and reporters tell us this too. He said, you already have mercenaries fighting us in Ukraine. Is what he said. You already have American mercenaries fighting us, and he said, but it would be a grave mistake to bring U.S. troops or NATO troops into Ukraine to fight us. But what he was trying to say without really pigeonholing himself, you're already fighting us. We already are fighting Americans, and we're fighting your military, and now you're telling us you're going to give them the capabilities to launch an attack into our country. What do you think is going to be the retaliation to that?
Oh, boy. Look out. He knows that we Americans have been training Ukrainians to operate pieces of equipment. Like he said, he knows mercenaries have been there. I'm sure they have great intelligence, and they're watching everything that's playing out. And it just feels like giving a kid a box of matches, out in a dry field when we're under a fire alert.
That's good.
Nothing bad could happen, right?
That's a good analogy. That's a very good analogy.
It's just more bad news on top of bad news.
Yeah. Well, there's bad news that comes on a Kingdom Intelligence Report, but we always film it through the Kingdom, and that's every Thursday night. And this coming Thursday night is the third Thursday of this month, and will be none other than Stan Deo. Stan Deo. Everybody.
Surely there's so many questions we need to ask him. Surely.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and I'm going to tell you what, he is a treasure, man. The man has seen some things and done some things and experienced some things that would boggle the mind, and probably some of it he's never shared publicly, other than just privately to family and so forth. But he has seen some things coming. And I remember just one of the shows we did with him talking about in the 1970s that was seeing the technology of tracking people on the interstate systems and camera technology in the 1970s to zoom in with facial recognition in the 1970s. I know. So that's just some of the stuff that you'll hear there. But one more thing before we move off the subject of Ukraine, NATO is now saying that they're getting ready to send 1 million drones to Ukraine. 1 million drones.
That does not even seem possible.
No.
1 million drones. And I know some of these we're probably talking about are very small, very tiny, but the thought that we would have 1 million drones, probably not all in operation at the same time. I'm sure they're thinking some of them will break down, get shot down, whatever. That's still crazy talk to me.
It is crazy.
Crazy.
All right. So a group of 7 European nations under the leadership of Latvia and the United Kingdom have joined coalition committed to producing and supplying Ukraine with 1 million drones. The initiative was announced by Latvia last month, but plans advanced this week when the Baltic nations signed a letter of intent to build out a drone project together with Ukraine, the Netherlands, Lithuania, Estonia, Sweden, Denmark, and Germany. However, there were no indications of timeline for the delivery of drones. Previously, the European Union admitted last month that it would not reach its self-imposed target of supplying Ukraine with 1 million artillery shells. And it goes on to say, the drone coalition intends to deliver 1 million drones to Ukraine by signing this letter of intent, blah, 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 blah. The drone coalition will contribute not only to the strengthening of the Ukraine military operation, but also the development of military industry. Think about that. It's all about the industry. Drone technologies have provided an enormous technology. It goes on to say, what the drones will do. Ukrainian naval drones have been used and devastatingly effective against Russian warships in the Black Sea. So these are not drones that just fly over and take pictures. These are military drones that have the ability to shoot missiles.
Got armaments on them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And some of them are suicide kamikaze drones that are loaded with heavy stuff that they can just fly them into and blow them up.
This is crazy. Some of them are just complete surveillance and reconnaissance, but like you said, some of them have onboard ammunitions. And I hear Mike from around the world talk about there's a drone highway, and constantly, 24 hours a day, there's drone surveillance and things going on with drones. And that's just crazy to think about because we don't really see them. If they are truly supposedly there, it's weird to think about this is going on over our heads all the time, and we don't see it. We're not aware of it.
Because, we've got this narrative, this image in our mind. Bzzz, you can hear them, and they're just, it's just your neighborhood guy flying this drone, taking pictures of his dog playing in the backyard. No, the skies are filled with drones. They're filled with drones all over the world, in America, in your country, whatever country they are filled with drones. If
it's true what they are saying. And I keep hearing that. You keep hearing that.
Yeah.
Strange times.
And everything, no matter what is invented when it comes to technology, eventually becomes military weapons.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yes.
I mean, it all becomes militarized. And that is what has happened with this, what we thought was this cool, we could take some cool pictures of our house and all of this. No, all along, they knew. In fact, by the time we got them to where we could take pictures of our house, they were already using it in warfare.
Certainly. I believe that.
Yeah. Just, we could go on and on and on. We could just go down in that hole. We could just go down in that rabbit hole and start digging and just, what did we find here? What is in this turn of the rabbit hole?
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah. See what you did to me?
I know, right?
Are you proud of yourself? I am. I know you are. FBI director is now warning that China's computer attacks are now capable, quote, at a scale greater than we've ever seen before, unquote, as vulnerable critical infrastructure remains at high risk to be targeted. It has escalated to a scale that we've never seen, and it says it gave the warning of intelligence chiefs and politicians met at Munich Annual Security Conference Sunday. The wars raging in Ukraine and the Middle East were the focus of the conference, but Ray urged leaders not to lose sight of the subtler menace. He said in Beijing's plan to secretly plant technology inside the U.S. critical infrastructure has become a significant threat to national security. He goes on to say the Chinese hacking network that was discovered earlier last year was only the tip of the iceberg. What?
Yeah. As if all that other stuff we just talked about wasn't enough. We need entire armies of people to fight and deal with this one thing.
Look at this picture here, Sam. Just check out this picture.
Exactly.
This is, analysts believe that Chinese military has changed the strategy from intelligence gathering to infiltration in a bid to sow chaos should war break out. So these are all military Chinese military. And they are literally, their job in the military here is to hack systems. Let's think about this. China is getting ready, probably this fall, to go ahead and do what they're going to do with Taiwan. But before they even do that, they've already sent tens of thousands through our southern border that are now spread out all over our country. They have infiltrated. We know that they've attacked the power grid. We know that they have revealed that they have the ability to get into nuclear plants. They have hacked our military. Yeah. They've hacked just about everything. And now we got TikTok that they brought here that's programmed an entire generation to be mind-numb robots. Yeah. So when they get ready to do what they're going to do militarily around the world, they already have the infrastructure to create chaos with us right here on our own homeland.
That is so scary to think about, that right under our noses, they're sending people in. The words you use, infrastructure. Yep. They have set up an infrastructure in our country. And when they get ready, I don't know what it looks like. I don't know what they're going to do. But the possibilities of sitting here thinking, is just very troubling. And isn't it Russia who said decades ago how we will take over or destroy America is from within?
Yes.
We have the television show, The Americans with a K. We've had movies where people infiltrated the government and they had the mannerisms. They had, you could not tell in their language, with their accent, with in any way that these were full-on Russian citizens who were presenting themselves as Americans. They had documentation to say that, they were born here, they were citizens. It was all falsified. And they infiltrated and not just to be a citizen, but made their way into government and even some high governmental positions. And there's probably many that we still don't even know about today. Yeah. And we sit here worrying about, things that we don't need to be concerning our time with while this widespread attack is taking place in our country, and we can't seem to do anything to stop any of it.
But Cindy, what about Taylor Swift?
She's so important.
I mean,
we need to consult with her. Maybe she has the answers, right? No.
But what I'm trying to say is everything you said is so spot on. Yeah. But you know what? Other than the big picture audience, I know we're preaching to the choir here because you guys are here because you're already big picture minded. But the masses do not care about what you just said.
I understand
They don't care.
I understand. And to your point that you were talking about, the infrastructure, and they're just waiting because they know we have TikTok and we're distracted and we're weak and we can't, fight off anything or think our way out of a paper bag for that matter.
Exactly. So, and now you hear the rumors, we're talking about the war machine about drafting and instituting a draft.
Yes.
I mean, come on. Is this generation that would be draftable age of what is... What? Are we going to fight against people who are determined, who are patriots of their country, patriots of Russia, patriots of China? Right. I mean, patriots of whatever. They care about their country. We have an entire generation, not just young people, our generation too as well, that have literally have no concern for their country anymore. No. And this is what I heard something very interesting the other day, and I've thought about it, but it was never worded as good as I'd heard it. He said, people have asked me about a civil war, and they've asked me, is there any way that would really ever happen? Would Americans ever turn on Americans again? And he said, you know what? I don't think they would. And he goes, I've always said I don't think they would. And then he said, so the solution is bring in millions that are not Americans, that do not love this country, and then put weapons in their hand or put them in the military, and they will turn on American citizens in a heartbeat because they have no allegiance to this country. Right. And he said it's all a part of the plan to eventually use people who don't care. Look at how many, not all immigrants, some immigrants are completely utterly grateful to be in this country, to get a better life
Absolutely.
for them.
And they contribute, and they make this country better.
Yes, yes.
Absolutely.
I mean, our country was built on immigrants,
Yes.
coming in through Ellis Island and all this. But look at how many they come in, they refuse to fly the American flag. They fly their own country flag. The guys that just beat up the cop up in New York City,
Yes.
and he was just they were put right back on the street with no prosecution. And as they're going out to the camera, they're shooting the birds to the camera and shooting a bird to America because they don't care. They don't care. They're just here to get, or they're here on assignment. And not all, but many of them are here to just get things and their own assignment to be here.
I mean, imagine how weaponized any group of people from any country would be if maybe you have been told and taught and trained to hate America, to hate Americans, that we are bad, we are the problem. And yes, some of us, we do have bad practices. We're not perfect.
Right.
There are some things that we do that we shouldn't do, especially in regards to going all over the world and, so-called helping these other countries. I think that we've done wrong in some aspects, but this is our country that we love, and it is being destroyed in many cases from the inside.
Yeah, I agree. Staying on China, one more thing on China. This is really unreal. I mean, China is now openly admitting that they have a new direct energy microwave weapon that to zap enemy targets, and it may be used against Taiwan. The report says that the device can generate electricity, get this, up to 10 gigawatts at 10 pulses per second, making HPMs powerful enough to fry sensitive electronics in planes, drones, and satellites. In what may be the first of its kind, Chinese scientists have unveiled a new Stirling engine-powered, high-powered microwave weapon, marking a significant leap in directed energy warfare technology with possible applications in future urban warfare scenarios.
Wow.
Goes on to say the report mentions that the superconducting coil generates a magnetic field with a strength of up to 4 Teslas harnessed to drive HBM waves powerful enough to suppress drones, military aircraft, and even satellites. China claims that it's the world's first openly reported HPM weapon based on Stirling engine technology.
So is this going to be used for mainly satellite or aircraft? Could you possibly attack a ship and cause it to be dead in the water?
I think that's what it's saying. Let's go on to read this part. It says that the weapon system, which can be easily fit into a truck, boasts a significant reduction in energy consumption for generating a strong magnetic field. And China claims it consumes only 1/5 of the energy required by current methods and can operate continuously for 4 hours.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
Continuously for 4 hours, and they've made it more energy efficient.
Wow.
Is there no end?
Exactly. We talked about this earlier in an earlier show where you brought up the Ocean's 12 movie, Ocean's 11 or whatever,
there were 3 movies.
Which was the one that had
I think the first one, the 11, where they had the EMP pulse that they stole from the college or the university and put it in the van and used it to knock out the power to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And also in a later movie, it may have been the last one in that series, they caused an earthquake using a nuclear-powered tunnel boring machine, I believe. Remember when they tunneled underground over to the specific hotel and basically shook the foundation, which everybody inside thought an earthquake was happening and ran out. But they, we talk about predictive programming in movies a lot, but they're like little Easter eggs that they hide in the movies, or you might say put in the movies, where we just watch it and think, well, that was an interesting plot. Well, it might have been an interesting plot, but a lot of times they're putting things there in plain sight for you to see And a lot of us just do not understand what's going on.
And the more I think about that, and the more I think about it's, a lot of people say that part of the elite cabal and all this is that they have to, one of the rules is they have to tell you what they're going to do before they do it.
Yes.
And I don't doubt that. But the more I think about it, the more I think these things are dropped, and they're dropped again in another movie and all this, and insinuated here and there, to just simply desensitize us to the technology when it comes.
Totally agree.
I mean, so that by the time we're told about it, our minds, especially the conspiracy theorists and all this, are already thinking well advanced in that. But the masses, that's sort of like what was in that movie. That's pretty cool. I remember what they did in that movie with that. That was cool. And it just sort of desensitizes you to what is happening.
Desensitizes. I don't think that we use that word enough on this show or talk about it enough, because I think it's a powerful tool. I think it's used often.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of us have been desensitized to a lot of things.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of, I hate to say it, murder, a lot of people being killed in our city, in Birmingham and in the metro where we live. And each and every day there's one or more murders that are reported. And my fear, we need to know about these, and something certainly needs to be done about it. But I don't want people to become desensitized by the everyday talking about, well, this happened.
Right.
We can't, each life is precious.
Yes.
And we can't grow lazy and say, well, it's just going to happen. It's these days we live in. Yes, it's not going to be perfect. We're probably not going to stop all of it, but we cannot stop persevering to try to find out why some of these things are happening so we can put a stop to this.
That's so good. That's spot on. So good. And talking about what the capabilities of this is, it says here, what these weapons can be used to neutralize enemy capabilities and combatants non-lethally, offering advantages such as deep magazine capacity, simplified logistics, negligible cost per shot, instantaneous engagements, and extreme accuracy. It says along those lines, China may need these capabilities should it decide to invade Taiwan. And it says that it would face costly urban warfare, having to fight street to street in a city of 7 million inhabitants. But they're saying that if they have the technology to disable...
To just shut it down.
Just shut it down.
So we're not, quite frankly, expelling or expending ammunitions, and we can just maybe, for the most part, peaceably take over the island because we've shut everything down.
Have you seen the interview that somebody was interviewing Tucker Carlson, and and they were talking about China or Russia invading our country, and they asked him, "Do you think America will be invaded by China?" And his response was just so powerful. He goes, "No. Why would they? Why would they send Chinese people, military, to storm our borders in military and fly planes into us and all this when all they have to do is shut down the power grid? All they have to do is shut down the internet." He goes, we will eliminate ourselves.
Yeah.
And they would never have to put one of their lives at risk. No. He said more people their lives would be ended here on this earth if they didn't have electricity, if they did not have the necessities of life, than would happen with an actual invasion.
That's basically the premise of Leave the World Behind.
Yep.
The Netflix movie. And they didn't hem-haw around. They just come right out and said when the character laid out how this would all happen.
Yep.
They knew that we'd finish ourselves off.
Exactly.
When you cut communication, when you cut utilities, and people are just out there trying to fend for themselves, trying to take care of themselves, they'll eat each other alive.
Yeah, the ones that had the money, they went underground in their bunkers and let all of us useless eaters.
You mean like what's happening right now with all these very wealthy people, the Zuckerbergs and all these people in the world? Like, was it art imitating life? Is that what you say?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But, all the bad news, Sandy, for Biden's had a lot of bad news lately. I mean, he's had a lot of stumbles. His polls have dropped in numbers.
Right.
Trump's getting endorsements. Different. Biden ain't getting a whole lot of endorsements. But, we want to be equal. We want to be equal when news comes out and said, so-and-so has been endorsed. Biden, he got an endorsement this week. So we want to go ahead and give him props.
It's a good one.
Here we go. Putin has officially endorsed Biden for U.S. president. Oh, my goodness.
Go ahead and buy those tickets to Disney World. Right?
Russian President Vladimir Putin has said he believes Joe Biden would be a better for Russia president because Biden is predictable. This is a little 20-second video. Watch this right here.
Ну, тогда вопрос, который был 4 года назад, и сейчас, получается, снова становится
So we'll read the prompter.
актуальным.
Here's a question been asked 4 years ago, becoming more relevant again. He says Biden. He's more experienced and predictable person and politician of the old school, but we will work with any U.S. leader entrusted by the American people. I always forget. Sandy, this, you got to remind me. When I muted in our ears, but people can still hear it there, and I'm talking over them.
Okay.
Sorry about that. We've learned our lesson there. But basically, he says he's more predictable, and he's a person of the old system, and we'll be able to manipulate him more, basically.
You know what? I think he should have added, and he's Teflon. No matter what the man does, nothing seems to stick, right?
Yeah, it's true.
But I think that his days are numbered because if whoever's in charge of this whole thing decide that his days are over,
which I think they already decided that.
They're going to drop the bomb.
That's why they put him out there in that press conference.
I think that's what I thought when that happened. Now that's died down and quieted down, and they've backed off of that. But that is a perfect example of when we decide we want to do something, we're going to do it.
Exactly. So. And did you notice how the press just turned on him? No, the press is other than douchey.
Deucey?
Okay.
We like that guy.
Yeah, Ducey.
Peter Ducey.
Ducey.
Son of Steve Ducey from the Fox News Channel. But look, it's a perfect example. When they decide they're done with you, they want to ruin you.
Yes.
This all happened in one night, and then the next day or 2 days later, it's pretty much like it never happened, right?
Right, exactly.
So.
Well, look, Governor Hochul, look what she's doing for New York up there. Thousands of migrants in New York City in the New York State are quietly collecting welfare through a Hochul rule change, which is basically a loophole. Yeah, you really want to get really mad at what's going on in your government? Watch this right here. This right here is going to get you fired up. The Hochul administration is quietly using taxpayer dollars to give cash payments to thousands of migrants who don't qualify for typical welfare assistance. The cash windfall was made possible by the State Office of Temporary and Disability Assistance modifying its, quote, safety net assurance program's eligibility rules in May to now include non-citizens with pending applications for legal asylum status. And it goes on to say they declined to reveal how many migrants have received the SNA checks, but estimates that 90% of New York's current migrant population won't see additional benefits under the rule change. But it goes on to say, that, here's some pictures of the migrants receiving their benefits.
And they're receiving these on some kind of card? Is that how they're
getting their money from the card and from the government? And it says that migrants are only a small portion of the $4.3 billion Hochul has already set aside to handle the migrant crisis. Well, what about the money? If you set any kind of money aside to fund the veterans that are homeless on your streets,
right?
Where's that plan?
Yeah, and I'm curious what the mayor of New York City, Eric Adams, will have to say, because probably a lot of these people are in New York City or maybe, close by. And he was already frustrated with the situation of so many people being brought there and just released. And
But he talks a big game, but he's still behind the scenes doing the same thing, and he's putting them he's making kids leave their schools. He's putting them in the schools. He's putting them in 5-star hotels. He's talking, this has got to stop. This has got to stop.
Yeah.
But then he's got to keep his base happy by making sure that they're getting money. They're getting 3 free meals a day, free housing.
yeah,
And by the way, they don't have to even clean up their room because it's a hotel. They got services to do all that for you. They're being treated like first-class citizens when the Americans that are suffering on the streets of New York City and other places
right.
are being treated like third-rate citizens.
So let's again bring up the point. What happens if someone decides to cut the funding and cut off all these perks,
Yep.
all these funds
Yep.
for all these people that we brought over here?
That's a good point, because
How are they going to eat?
Well, what is that going to cause them to do?
What is it going to cause them to do?
Listen, when you can't eat, you do a lot of things.
Exactly.
When your babies can't eat, and you got babies and you got a family, and your wife can't eat, you do crazy things.
Yes.
You rob stores. You assault people.
Yes.
You do what you got to do. And what to the point that you're making, if something was to happen that the funds was cut off to, let's say, millions of people who are getting a free ride, and now they're having to fend for themselves.
They're
and they
desperate. They don't know
Yeah.
where to turn. They don't know what to do. And in a city like New York City, you have so many of them there. I mean, this could create a really bad situation. And I don't know if it's New York City, but I was listening to someone talk about these gangs that are forming in these cities. And, they're very sophisticated in that they have these scooters or these bikes where there's a driver and then there's someone on the back. They come alongside, steal your purse, steal your bag off of your arms, and take off. Well, whatever you have, whatever belongings you have that are of any value, obviously they have that. If your phone and your devices are in these bags, they hack them. They're very sophisticated to be able to hack them, get all your banking information, basically raid your bank accounts. And I don't know if they're sophisticated enough to try to sell any other valuable information to other criminals. But this is like a full-scale operation that's going on.
Yeah.
And it's just another facet of the crime. And I'm personally glad that I don't live in a big city, don't want to live in a big city, to have to deal with a lot of the things like that to go on.
Yep. Well, down at the border, Governor Abbott is still doing some things that are really shaking some people up. It was announced this week that he plans to build a military base near Eagle Pass. Not only is he saying we're not leaving, our National Guard's not leaving, we're going to build a military base here.
Wow, what took so long?
Yeah, exactly. That's a good question. What took so long? But, hey, glad he's doing it. But, what took so long? Texas Governor Greg Abbott has announced plans to construct a military base near Eagle Pass, Texas. In response to the ongoing immigration crisis, the base would house National Guard troops tasked with securing the southern border and preventing illegal immigration. The military base will be built on 80 acres of land in Eagle Pass and will accommodate up to 1,800 National Guard members. The first 300 beds are expected to be ready by April, with the base also having room to house an additional 500 members. The base is part of Governor Abbott's Operation Lone Star, aimed at securing the Texas border amidst the ongoing immigration crisis.
Well, it's something, and hopefully it will help. But we are really, really deep into this crisis and situation.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
We really are. And if you did not need evidence that some of these woke cities have agendas with the illegal immigration people say this, but they can't vote. They can't vote. But watch what San Francisco has done.
Yep.
San Francisco this week swore in their first, listen to the headline, non-citizen, not to the school board, but to the elections board.
I wonder if that person's going to have an agenda.
Exactly. San Francisco has appointed a non-citizen to its election commission for the first time, even though she cannot vote. You cannot vote, but you are going to decide on the commission what your voting laws are?
Does that make
Any sense?
at all?
At all. The newest member of the San Francisco Election Commission, a 7-member civilian body that oversees and creates policy for the city's Department of Elections, isn't even allowed to vote. Kelly Wong, an immigrant rights advocate, is believed to be the first non-citizen appointed to the commission at a swearing-in ceremony administered by the Board of Supervisors in San Francisco, where dozens of people were gathered to commemorate the occasion. And I thought I had a picture of her, but I don't. But Sandy, this is, and by the way, also on top of this, I don't know if he'll be able to pull it off because I don't know if he'll be able to stay in the office until it's there, and then whoever might, Kamala, she might do it. But there are more and more rumors coming out that one of the biggest things that is on the agenda for the Biden administration, they know they're not going to win. They're not, certainly if he's running, is right before he leaves office, he is going to do an executive order. They're working on it right now to instantly legalize almost every illegal immigrant and give them
Where
a
are you
right to
hearing
vote.
this?
I've heard this from multiple people that it is in the work. They don't know if they're going to pull it off, but it is the desire of them because they realize if we don't do it now, if Trump wins or somebody like Trump in the future wins, this will never be able to happen. Some type of executive order to give them legal citizenship pathway going out of the White House.
I had not heard that, and I was just about to say, hey, these people, the train has left the tracks on that operation out there. But with all these things that are happening, you know, it is a privilege. It is a blessing to be a citizen of this country.
Yes.
And it's like with all of these things that are happening, before you even mention that, it's like this blessing is being diminished. It's like the privilege that we have of being citizens of this country, all of that is just being eroded away. What does it even mean? What will it even matter?
Right.
Right?
Right. Exactly. What will it even matter? You know, things come with citizenship, a right to vote, a First Amendment right, a Second Amendment right to protect your family. All these things come with being a citizen. But it's like on one side, you're trying to give the fast track citizenship to people that did not do it the right way. And on the flip side, the current citizens or the ones that did it the right way and became naturalized citizens, you're trying to take away their Second Amendment right. You're trying to take away their First Amendment right. So it's like you're trying to bring all this new crew in and give them citizenship, but to the citizenship, you're trying to take away all of their constitutional rights.
Let's just think about this. If you are just eroding what it means to be a citizen of this country and the structure and the important everything, how far is lawlessness, just complete lawlessness? How far away are we from just anything goes?
Right.
We do at least right now still have at least a semblance of order and structure.
But that's going.
But if we start eroding the foundations of citizenship, how far away are we from just total chaos?
But also a part of being a citizen is innocent until proven guilty. What are we witnessing it before our eyes that is being done to political candidates, being done to people who they've not been even accused of a crime, tried for a crime, or even convicted for a crime, but being removed from ballots because we believe you are this, even though you were never convicted of this.
Yes.
Where is the justice? You got the justice system that is eroding. You've got the political system that is eroding. Yeah. I mean, it is.
We have common sense eroding.
Oh, that's top all of it.
Yes, absolutely. And you add in the technology, the ability to deep fake.
Oh, yeah.
And to
we're gonna show some
use
stuff
that
tonight.
as, so-called evidence against someone. But like you said, sometimes it just becomes too much for me to process. It's hard.
Yep, but that's what God's called us to do, baby. We got to do it.
Yes.
We got to power through.
Yes,
Is that
we
how
do.
you say it? Power on, power through?
Soldier on and
Soldier.
power through.
So power through. Well, we was just on a cruise, and now we thought everything was better. But now, guess what?
Oh, boy.
Here we are again.
I'm glad I got my cruise out of the way. I had not been on a cruise in 10 years, 10 years. And I didn't think that I thought I possibly would never, and I'm careful about using the word never, but I thought there's a possibility that I probably would not do it again because
But we enjoyed it.
we enjoyed it so
It was
much.
so good. We needed
Because
it.
we've had these bouts of hearing these stories about people getting sick
Yeah.
on cruises and outbreaks and so on. And for a while, those stories were coming one after the other. And that was just more ammunition for me to just say, I don't know if I want to do that.
But, hey, we're going to go back on another one. We ain't going to get scared.
It was pretty sweet.
CDC confirms spread of unknown outbreak on cruise ship. Wow. I mean, I thought we was done with this, but apparently we're not done with this.
No.
And, of course,
Well,
why we need-
floating city.
Yeah. It's like a giant picture dish.
Some of these have 3, 4, 5, 6,000 people on them.
Some of them bigger ones now got 10,000.
I mean, that is crazy to me.
Yeah. You got 10,000 people, 8,000 people, 5,000 people on there. Something's on there. There's something floating around in one of them. I mean, ain't no doubt about it. But look, the Centers for Disease Prevention has confirmed the spread of an unknown outbreak on a cruise ship. The outbreak of the Queen Victoria's cruise ship was first reported in early February when 15 people suffered from an undiagnosed illness. Passengers on the cruise ship suffered from symptoms such as vomiting and diarrhea. However, the mystery illness quickly spread throughout the cruise ship. The CDC reported that at least 154 people had been stricken with a sickness, 129 passengers, and 25 crew members. There are 1,824 passengers and 967 crew members aboard the cruise ship.
This is a small.
This is a small
That's
one.
a small one.
Yeah. Despite investigating the illness more than 2 weeks ago, the CDC said that the cause of the outbreak is still unknown.
Wow.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Moving on, we see this continuing. The BRICS is growing. We talk about it all the time. We haven't talked about it in a while.
I know. And when it's quiet,
Yeah,
it's when I'm more worried.
exactly.
Because
Yeah.
it seems like when it comes back on scene, it's time to talk about it again. Well, my goodness, it's grown by leaps and bounds.
Exactly.
And they're just lining up, ready to become a part, and they're becoming stronger and stronger by the day.
Yep. De-dollarization. BRICS member Egypt becomes the latest nation to completely dump the U.S. dollar.
Not good news.
In what is another sign of the unfolding BRICS de-dollarization plan, Egypt has officially ditched the U.S. dollar. The country was one of 5 nations to accept an invitation to join the alliance at its 2023 summit. Subsequently, it has already firmly embraced its shift to local currencies trade thus far. The BRICS expansion was the first time the alliance grew since 2001 and had massive geopolitical implications. Alongside Egypt, Iran, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, and Ethiopia are expected to join the bloc. Now, Egypt has already expressed its desire to move away from the greenback in trade. And we have seen this coming.
Yes.
We have told you that it's coming.
Yes.
BRICS it's basically made up of communist and terrorist organizations, or at least socialist nations as well. Don't know, there may be some democracies in there, but I doubt it. But it's like all anti-American and Western capitalism, but yet our dollar is plummeting, and their
Right.
BRICS, whatever they call it, is skyrocketing.
Right. When all these countries do not want to settle their, movement of products, all of the transactions and so forth, with the dollar. They find other means such as BRICS to settle all of these debts and transactions. The dollar becomes weaker and weaker. They don't want to use the dollar. Well, that's really bad news for our country.
And I don't think most Americans and most people around the world understood just how much the U.S. dollar was used. The petrodollar is what they call it.
Until we started getting into this, I didn't.
Yeah, I didn't either. And it's like, so you're talking about enemies of our country was still trading in the U.S. dollar.
Yes.
And it's been that way for decades and generations.
Yes.
But then all of a sudden now, because of the weakened image of America and the weakened economy and so forth, these countries are no longer intimidated. They don't feel compelled. We have to use the U.S. dollar. I mean, it's like when I go on mission trips, and I'm telling you, I've not gone into a country yet that they are not trying. And I'm talking about I've been in Latin America, South America. I've been in Africa. I've been several places around the world and even Asia. There is not a single country around the world, Sandy, that doesn't teach English as a secondary language in their schools. Every one of them. And
it's called what? The language of business?
The language of commerce.
Of commerce.
The language of commerce. But there are some countries that teach English. They're not English-speaking countries. They teach English as the primary language and their own language as secondary language. And a side note here, you may be surprised to know that in America, we've never declared English our national language.
That is insane to me.
We just refuse to do it. But that being said, the reason they do that is because for so long people understood that if you're going to trade, if you want to train your children to rise up and be successful in business,
advance in life,
they're going to need to be able to speak the language of America.
Many people from around the world have sent their children to the United States, maybe to England, parts of Europe, to be educated.
Yes.
Because they understood the importance of this, and they needed this, especially if they were in politics, if you're very wealthy in business. You're going to need to be able to deal with Americans, with Europeans, speak English, understand some of the culture, understand the way commerce works, to be successful, to build your own empire, to build your, political empire, whatever. And like you said, for so long, this is the way it was. But now so many people are sick of U.S. elitism and dominance. They don't want us coming into their countries, claiming we want to do good, but whatever we're really doing, there is a bad feeling of other countries towards us.
And then you flip the lack of patriotism within our own country.
Yes.
And people that are coming here used to, when they would come into Ellis Island and so forth, when our country was built on immigrants, immigration, one of the biggest things was, and it was, quite frankly, almost a requirement to succeed in life is to learn the language.
Yes.
Now there are people that come here, they live their whole lives, they have children here, they never learn how to speak English, ever. And I don't know how in the world they function in life, but they fully function now because everything is printed in their language, another language.
Yes.
Everything, you go to a bank now. You stand at a bank, you look inside the bank, there's a card there.
Yes.
And it has like 20 or 30 different languages saying, if you need assistance, look here, and you can find it and turn the card around and point to it. And some of them can speak it. Then they have their phones, and they will talk to you because they don't want to push you to accept the language. And the whole world is saying, you know what? We don't want your language anymore. We don't want your money anymore. We're going to do our own thing. We don't have to follow your lead anymore.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, nobody's talking about that in the upper echelon of the government of America going, what happened to us? It's just like the media and everybody's just sort of ignoring the fact that the whole world's image of America and Western culture in general, including Europe and otherwise, is just gone.
Well, as far as Europe, they have been bringing in immigrants and, parts of France, people... it's not even safe to go to. Even parts of England are becoming totally of immigrant population. They want to have It's no melting pot
Right.
mentality. It's no being integrated in.
Sharia
We just want
law.
to come here and have our own entire
Yeah.
area.
Yeah.
You know, we don't want to integrate in, even though we see you're opening your arms to welcome us to become a part. No.
Yeah.
We want to come over and set up our own communities that are totally from our country.
We're going to speak our language. We're going to operate
Yes.
by our
Very
government.
defiant.
Yeah. And they're implementing discipline and crimes and everything based on,
Yes.
let's say, for instance, in the Muslim world, Sharia law. You know, where there's no travel zones, whatever you call it, where the police won't even go in because they operate by not the country's law.
Yep.
And that's a lack of sovereignty, a lack of honor. We have an epidemic of a lack of honor. We see it in the world, but you know what? Can I preach a little bit right now? It's because it's out in the world because we don't understand in the church anymore.
Right.
People in the church and people in the world, they've lost understanding of respect.
Yeah.
You know, we don't teach our kids to say yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir anymore. We don't, excuse me, pardon me, can I get that door for you? We've not trained just the simple little things. And it might seem minuscule, but that creates a culture that doesn't appreciate what they have been blessed with.
Very good.
My soapbox is over. Let's get back to the news.
Very well spoken.
Americans' electricity grid is being stressed, and new data centers may put an even bigger strain on it. For the last couple of years, assessments of the national electric grid's ability to deliver power during peak demand periods, such as heat waves and cold snaps, have shown increasing risk for blackouts. The North American Electric Reliability Corporation, the nation's grid watchdog, finds the nation's cause is retirements of coal plants without enough natural gas plants coming online. And of course, we know why. It's being deemed as contributing to climate change. Besides the ability of generation sources to meet demand during peak periods, the general demands on the grid are also increasing. Environmental groups are pushing to transition home heating from natural gas to electricity, and electric vehicles are also adding to the grid's thirst for power. Pushing everything to electricity just requires more electricity to be generated. Huh? Do we not get
How
that?
did we miss that part? I mean, certainly they're not going to say that. They're not going to tell us that. But why did we not have any critical thinking skills to have gotten there before now?
Yeah, exactly. Not to mention, when you get it, we say this over and over again, we're not big travelers, but when we do travel, you know, we talk to people who have electric cars, and they'll tell you, hey, these things don't work in the winter. And when it's really even hot in the summer, they don't hardly work that well either. And it's like whatever they tell you is the range is a lie. And so people are already, and by the way, many of the car companies have just basically said, you know, we tried this, but we're done.
We've talked about at least two recently that are shutting that division of their companies down. And wow.
Yeah. Well, you know, I guess every week we got to say something about old Bill Gates. You know, the computer guy that just focuses only on computers. That's why he's here on this earth, right? Computers, Windows. Bill Gates and scientists. Notice how Bill Gates and scientists.
Yeah.
I'm going to read that again. Does that make sense to you? Is that okay with you? Bill Gates and scientists promote self-fertilizing crops that siphon nitrogen from the air, of course, to reduce emissions. Biochemists and climate scientists are increasingly working to manufacture new gene-edited crops that can fertilize themselves by utilizing the nitrogen in the air, which in turn, they say, will help to reduce harmful emissions that already exist in the atmosphere and the runoffs that are created by conventional fertilizers. Please. That is, first of all, why are we getting excited about eating food that has the intelligence from within it to create its own fertilizer? Or, as we've reported before, communicate and talk to you when it's time to water it.
Yeah.
I want to eat that.
The corn that phones home, right?
Yes, that's a real thing. We covered it.
We covered it for sure. And really, though, come on. We should expect no less from the world's greatest farmer, right?
Yeah.
He owns more farmland in this country than any other person. So
He really does. Did y'all know that?
He's
Bill
just
Gates.
protecting his investment.
He is the largest
trying to
farmland
further his abilities.
owner, private farmland owner in America. Is it it might be the world. I don't know. But he's definitely
I think
American.
it's definitely our country.
So watch this. Self-fertilizing plants have been a scientific goal since the 1970s. In 1972, two British scientists published a paper in Nature reporting that they introduced E. coli, a bacterial species that does not normally fix nitrogen to do so by importing genes from another bacterial species that does. Quick progress to plants seemed imminent in 1975, blah, blah, blah. What I'm trying to say is this is not a new thing. They have had a long-term agenda to change and alter our food.
Yeah. I mean, look at GMOs.
Yes.
Okay, so we can grow more crops more efficiently, but I think the end result is affecting the health of some of the animals that have to eat this corn, the people that have to eat these foods. We all have all kinds of conditions that require, guess what, pharmaceuticals and drugs to help us. I think.
Are you saying that if we say we don't want the wah-wah, they're going to put the wah-wah in what we eat and make us still get the
well,
wah-wah?
they've already said that. They've already said that. But even before the wah-wah became, a reality for us, we had people that were getting all kinds of new allergies, skin conditions, gastrointestinal conditions that, of course, have to be treated with pharmaceutical drugs. So look at the increase. Look what money is coming into the hands of the farmers, and not all of them are good and have good and pure intentions.
Exactly.
And the pharmaceutical companies, look how their bank accounts have been boosted.
Oh, yes.
even
Trillions of dollars.
before the cost of the wah-wah.
Yeah. And I look in the live chat and I see a bunch of new people. Every week we get new guests. And we can't wait to go back and read the live chat tonight. And all of our new folks, welcome. And
please do chime in.
Yes, please.
Last week, I think this was just a rough count, but I told you I'm seeing like around 40 names and people that I've never seen before,
brand new people,
which was so awesome and exciting.
Yes, we appreciate that so much. But what I want to say to all the new people, because you're probably like, what is the wah-wah? What are they talking about the wah-wah? So the wah-wah is if you're looking at the screen, it's the poke, it's the jab, it's the you-know-what, and we just call it the wah-wah because we don't want to get kicked off. But, we're talking about the electric cars, Sandy. This is good. There's something really breaking right now that I think is very interesting that's happening in the EU, and, of course, it's going to happen around the world. So they know that the public does not want electric vehicles. So they're going to do everything they can do to force you. If you're going to have a vehicle, first of all, they don't want you to have a vehicle. But if you're going to have a vehicle, they want you to have an electric vehicle. Well, look what they're doing in the EU saying. This is insane. The EU is considering banning any repairs on cars that are 15 years old or older.
Does this apply to those?
We would be in trouble.
To those elitists with all of their classic cars that may need some kind of upgrade or repair every once in a while? Yeah. I bet it doesn't apply to them.
No repair for you, but repair for me. Okay.
How about that?
The European Union is proposing a controversial piece of legislation that would effectively ban the right to repair for older vehicles by 15 years, which would in turn force residents to spring for newer models and more often put private mechanics out of business. Of course. I mean, I remember during the wah-wah when everything went through the roof, sky prices went through the roof, and car prices went through the roof.
Yes.
You remember used cars were as expensive or more expensive than new cars.
Yes.
And it was because of
insane.
a lack of that chip. They couldn't get the cars. And then there was, a lot of the ships were in dock. They couldn't get in because of the wham. But it escalated. And a lot of people was looking for used cars, were selling and their cars for twice what they paid for them and all of that. But, for us, I'm not saying that we're not imposing this on anybody else, but we don't necessarily believe in brand new cars.
No.
I mean, it's like if we're going to get a car and we're going to get a relatively not new but not real old, or we might even get one that's like my vehicle is over it's almost 10 years old. It has low mileage on it. It's in good condition. So it's like if I had my vehicle in the EU and I drove it for a couple more years, I wouldn't be able to repair it.
You might be in serious trouble there.
And it's still a good vehicle. It looks good.
Right.
It's got low mileage. So what is this about? This is about forced compliance. Forced compliance.
Yeah, they're finding a back door or doing an in around to get you out, get you away from your gas-powered automobile.
Yep.
And into public transportation, or if you're really, really fortunate, maybe an EV.
Or put you in a 15-minute city where you got to walk everywhere. Everywhere you walk. Or ride the little bicycle.
Ride your little bicycle.
Ride your little bicycle.
With your tiny little feet.
We're very careful to talk about the wham because it always gets us flagged. But more and more people are talking about this. So we're going to sort of try to navigate through this because these things are beginning to pop up on news services that I'm very surprised they're making it through. But there's a new peer-reviewed study that finds the wham booster shot as majorly increased myocarditis. I think we all sort of know the obvious here, but it's being said. The association of myocarditis with the wham mRNA vaccine appeared strongest in male adolescents and younger males, and majorly after the second dose. But you know what? It blows my mind. We still see those commercials all the time when watching a ball game, or you'll hear it where they're like, "Hey, I got mine. You got yours? Make sure you get yours." When we're beginning to, I don't know. I'm going to say this, but let's be really careful what I'm about to say here. But we're hearing more and more reports from coroners. You're really following this story a lot stronger than me about things that they're finding in the veins of people that did not exist before 2020, 2021. And we know that they're not tied to the actual virus. They're tied to people that were wham-whammed. Yeah. And so we've said before, we'll say again, we don't judge anybody that has. No. If you made that decision, you stand by your decision, we appreciate you and applaud you. Yes. Some of you were forced to have that decision. But the reality is this, more and more as the days go by, there's more information coming out that shows this was rushed. This may have had an agenda behind it as well. Yes. But there are some very tragic things that are coming out as a result of this.
Very serious. Some people have claimed vaccine injury. Yep. And who can really tell for sure? But we've certainly seen a lot of things happen that seem questionable. Yep. And my heart goes out to anyone who lost someone during the sickness, or if they feel that they lost someone due to the medical intervention, if you want to call it that. It's just been a really tough time for the last, 4 years dealing with this. Yeah,
but they continue with the mandates. They don't want to lose that power, and that's what the WHO pandemic treaty that's supposed to be finalized in May. It's coming up. Was it May or March? It's May. May of this year, y'all. Just a few months away. Yes. It's going to solidify a global institution based in Geneva, Switzerland, to have the ability in the event of disease X or whatever else that they're saying is coming, would give them ultimate global authority to override your constitutional rights.
Basically to supersede your sovereign government, right?
Yes. But you know what he's doing now? He's going around and he's saying, this is misinformation, this is lies, this is conspiracy theory. We would never take away your sovereignty. We read it. We read it online when it first came out, the wording. We read it. And it says it openly in the document that it would supersede any known states, not individual states like Alabama is one of our 50 states, but states meaning governments. It would supersede their ability to stop them from mandating this globally. And then on top of that, Sandy, look at this. France has now saying that opposition to mRNA injections could carry a penalty of up to 3 years in jail. The French government has passed a law that considers opposition to treatments that they deem, quote, therapeutic to be, quote, sectarian aberration. Oh, come on. This is unbelievable.
Yeah.
In a tweet that Dr. Kat Lindley pointed out, quote, it will not tolerate any criticism of the therapeutic treatments which will be recommended or made obligatory by the state. Any person who dares to openly criticize these therapies will be liable to fines and imprisonment. Violators face a 45,000 euro fine and up to 3 years in prison for daring to question the science.
These are very scary times we live in. And this particular country, along with Canada, they have just turned on the afterburner.
Yeah.
When it comes to
yeah, they have
to this in particular, just the liberalism, this along with the assisted suicide or what is the acronym in Canada for the medical MAID. It's hard to believe that we're here.
Yeah.
That this is really where we are and what's happening.
Well, Sandy, I don't have it for our show tonight, but I also read an article today where Wawa injured people in Canada are now having MAID encouraged on them.
Oh, my goodness.
Yep. So they're having encouraged.
I hadn't seen or heard that.
This is the way you don't have to deal with long-term Wawa.
Long haul.
Yeah, long haul.
Long COVID.
Yeah. So yeah, this is the world we live in, y'all. This is the world we live in. But let's bring some exciting news. Because we have had bad news after bad news after bad news. We need some good news.
It's been a little tough tonight.
So
to be honest with you.
So I don't know if this is good news.
Okay.
I guess it's a little bit more on the surface lightheartening, but ultimately I think it's pretty scary. So I'm sorry for saying it's good news. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not science fiction. This is fact. Scientists are now saying that they are absolutely resurrecting the woolly mammoth. The woolly mammoth. Come on. You see the woolly mammoth?
I'm there. I am doing that one. When is it happening? Please.
Okay.
Is there going to be a vacation experience or a Jurassic Park thing? I want to go.
There again, predictive programming. Who knew? Who knew that Jurassic Park was predictive programming? Come on. Listen. I'm telling you, I don't have a hard time believing Terminator, Ready Player One, that Tom Cruise movie that I can't ever remember the name of, that we both always freak out.
It's on the tip of my tongue.
Okay, but Minority Report. Yeah, that's it. So predictive crimes and all those things. We take technology and all this. Who saw this one coming? Who saw Jurassic Park as trying to tell us predictive program that there would be extinct giant animals roaming again? But watch this. 4,000 years been gone. Here we are, to paraphrase Jeff Goldblum, in Jurassic Park. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should.
True. That's true.
Even if that something seems cool.
Yeah.
Okay, y'all. Ben Lam and Aronia Hassali recently took to Newsweek to announce that they and their team at Colossal Biosciences are bringing the woolly mammoth back to life. This is not a pie-in-the-sky, pseudo-sci-fi dream that might happen at some undefined future date. Here we go. Our first mammoth calf will be born in 2028, they declare. Just 2 years prior to Agenda 2030. While Agenda 2030 is in high gear, we're going to have woolly mammoths growing.
Nice.
And roaming through our neighborhood.
I at least want the T-shirt. But
I survived the woolly mammoth invasion.
Yeah.
T-shirt.
This is
what?
Quite interesting.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
Sandy.
Yeah, we're not going to worry about feeding the starving people of the world. We're going to reach back and pull the woolly mammoth forward, right? Yeah. Okay. So this is great. This is so cool and all this. Do you think they'll actually be able to do it?
I do.
You think so?
I do.
Well, Jeff Goldblum also said in that movie, life always finds a way.
It's true. It's true.
We'll see.
Hey, Sandy, you know what I'm thinking? That preacher's coming out of me.
Oh, yay.
Jesus said in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the days of the coming Son of Man. Are we messing with DNA? And could the woolly mammoths be the beginning of other creatures that may have come out of Genesis chapter 6? Go back and read Genesis chapter 6 if you don't know what I'm talking about. I'm telling you, there's some pretty hideous things that might be some crazy creatures might be roaming. You know, we already have like 15-foot giants in Miami. Now you're going to have woolly mammoths outside. Giant, they're going to be aliens riding the mammoths.
Look out.
What's going to be on the news?
Okay, so.
What?
All right, so I think it was the last Jurassic Park movie, Jurassic World, whatever. So they weren't content with just bringing the dinosaurs back. They had to militarize the dinosaurs in the last movie. If you remember,
did.
Remember how
Forgot about that.
The dinosaur, what was it about his skin where he basically camouflaged into the trees and the plants in the jungle, and he was right there in front of them, but they couldn't see it because he had totally camouflaged. And super fast, super vicious. So yeah, if only their intentions were just all good and pure. But
so what you're saying, Sandy, is if they are going to really bring back these creatures, there's no way they don't already have a plan to militarize them.
Well, I'm saying it's a possibility.
Well, think about super soldiers and technology. They're always trying to take technology and then weaponize it. They're going to weaponize the woolly mammoth.
Right.
Woolly mammoth's going to have its nose is not, what do they call that thing? Snout? What is that?
Tusk?
No, the
Oh, yeah.
a big old nose. I can't think of what it's called right now. It's going to be like.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm a little giddy.
I'm not saying that. Yeah, maybe it's possible, whatever. But let's just take Tesla, for example.
Yeah.
Nikola Tesla, the technologies that he says were shown to him, revealed to him, whatever. He developed Wardenclyffe Tower in New York and that tower out in Colorado. He wanted to help humanity.
Yep.
He wanted to take these technologies to, break the curse of famine and people that couldn't get water, couldn't get electricity, and
for free.
Give them electrical power, give them communications, and then somehow later on, I think he probably had an application for automobiles. But no.
Right.
That didn't get to happen because it was totally suppressed for humanity to benefit from.
Yep.
But guess who does have it? Guess who took it? Militaries and militarized these abilities and these technologies.
Exactly.
So while it won't be available to you, it can certainly be used against you.
Yes, absolutely. Without a doubt. And then also on the flip side of that is they're going to make money off of it. And you're going to, he died penniless. Wasn't it Westinghouse that he proposed his free power to? And they were like, we love this. This is an incredible idea. How much do you think we should charge? And and Tesla says,
wait, what?
Nothing. We're going to give it away to the citizens. They're like, no.
If we can't regulate it or put a meter on it, we're not interested.
Exactly.
Go away.
Go away. And you know what? They made him go away.
Yeah, they did.
And they took everything that he had.
Not that he was a saint, but I think that he did want to do some good things to help people.
And not to go down a big conspiracy theory hole here, but Donald Trump's uncle got all his stuff and got to see it.
Well, he did see some of the Tesla papers.
Some of the stuff. Well, there's always space.
Yeah.
Oh, Jimmy!
Uncle Jimmy! Come on! It's about time.
Where you been, Jimmy? Supernatural AI update. No matter where we go with this, we got some new things we're working on, Sandy. We got some new intros that we're working on. And
okay.
Chris, if you're watching this right now, thank you. We got a great voiceover guy that's going to help us make some new intros and stuff. And no matter where the intro goes, Sandy, no matter where it ends up going,
right?
We cannot forget Uncle Jimmy.
No.
Uncle Jimmy's got to be a part of it.
Yes.
And then we also always got to say that Uncle Jimmy's not real. Disclosure, full disclosure here. Uncle Jimmy's not real. It was just a cartoon that you saw.
I'm not saying that.
Hey, Uncle Jimmy, well, he is real because he's a demon. Demons are real. We don't believe, Sandy, we don't believe. We make it very obvious in the big picture. We don't believe in the little green men coming in from Mars.
No.
We believe in demons.
Except Uncle Jimmy.
Okay, yeah. And
JK.
And Roscoe.
Roscoe P. Coltrane?
Roscoe P. Coltrane, alien cousin.
There's no Roscoe here. His name is Cosmo.
Oh, Cosmo.
As we've discussed many times.
I want to call him Roscoe.
Before. And I don't understand
I keep going back
why
to Dukes of Hazzard.
You can't even remember your own family member's name.
Dukes of Hazzard, y'all. Was that not the coolest name? Roscoe P. Coltrane.
Mr. Coltrane?
Mr. Coltrane.
Yeah.
All right, so first, right off the bat, have you heard about this moon lander? This moon lander is on its way, and I don't think it's made it there yet, and they don't know if it's really going to make it there. But, and we don't know what's real and what's not real, okay? But the moon lander has beamed back some dazzling selfies. Even the moon lander knows how to take selfies. Have you seen these pictures yet?
Just one.
I'm just going to go down. I'm not going to read the article. But these are supposedly sent back. You can see part of the moon lander floating through space on its way to the moon.
In the words of Elon Musk, it looks so fake, you know it has to be real, right? Is that what he said?
Yeah, hey, that does not look fake, Sandy. Come on. What are you talking about? That looks real.
It's probably exactly like that.
There's
right?
no way AI could generate an image like that.
No, you could not stack picture on top of picture.
Hey, look at the
create a
Earth. It looks a little weird shaped, don't it?
A little misshapen.
It's a little misshapen. The Earth is a little misshapen. These are oh, there it is. That's perfect now.
Bam.
Actually, it's not. Look at the bottom right. Something's weird going on with the Earth there. It's like somebody's just squeezing or something. That's Africa. I can see Africa there. So these are the pictures. I just wanted to show our big picture audience.
And I'm so impressed, and I'm sure you are as well.
Yeah, what technology we have to take such amazing pictures from outer space on its way to the moon. And the article goes on to say that, we don't know if we're going to make it because many that have tried to make it lately have crashed and burned. Of course, that's the narrative that we're being given. But that's just one little thing here. But let's really get into, it's not just a supernatural AI update, but we also throw some things in there AI related with our friend Klaus Schwab. Right. You shall eat the bugs, Klaus Schwab. Well, guess what he's talking about when it comes to AI? Klaus Schwab has declared the new dawn of transitioning humankind into a new era has begun by merging man with machine. This week, the World Economic founder Klaus Schwab was an esteemed panelist at this year's World Government Summit held in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, where he explained that humanity is beginning the shift into transhumanism, merging man and machine as part of the fourth industrial revolution. I'm going to just play this one little clip from Mr. Klaus Schwab.
Just think of the power of the combination of artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and big data. So it's a combination of the different technologies which really bring the fundamental change. And finally, I think we have to be prepared for a world where we see a fusion of our physical, our digital, and our biological dimensions. So it will be a world integrating the physical, biological, and the digital dimensions. So it will be a new world. And I'm looking for a minister in 10 years. Probably it will be completely different from what it is now.
Who's he speaking with?
This is some guy from Dubai. I don't know who it is. This is the World Government Summit, which happens every year shortly after the World Economic Forum. And this year it was in Dubai.
Where does the man find time to work with all the summits and conferences?
Exactly. But you notice he said, in 10 years, everything we see in this world will look a lot different.
Which means actually less than 10 years.
Exactly. So he made it very clear that the realm of transhumanism has begun.
Right.
And remember, he's the one that his right-hand man said, we will be hackable.
Yeah.
You know, old Noah, good old Noah Harari. He said, you know, humans will be hackable.
Right.
We will go under the skin and we will control them. And he's also the guy that said, we will become God. Yeah. We will become God. There is no such thing as a real God.
Say that as well.
Yep. So, all right, moving on in the supernatural AI update. Speaking of AI, we talk a lot about OpenAI. We're going to show you some things at the end right here. Very end of the show tonight. That is crazy how fast this technology has advanced. OpenAI and Microsoft now claim that Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea have manipulated ChatGPT.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just had to laugh there.
Hey, sometimes you got to. Because watch this. OpenAI owns ChatGPT, and Microsoft owns a portion of ChatGPT. So the owners are saying
they've been hacked.
They've been hacked by Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea
poor things.
For malicious cyber activities.
Okay.
OpenAI shut down multiple accounts affiliated with the governments of China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea, which it said were attempting to use its AI chatbot services, quote, in support of malicious cyber activities. The announcement came as a result of OpenAI's collaboration with Microsoft Threat Intelligence. It says it represents a representative of an adversary exploring the use cases of our technology. The state-linked groups use AI services for research into companies and intelligence agencies, translating, generating content from hacking campaigns, and simply coding tasks. Importantly, our research with OpenAI has not identified significant attacks, but it goes on to say that we know that we have been attacked and that they have been systematically learning the capabilities that ChatGPT can be used for to manipulate these infrastructures.
Oh, boy.
Yep. That's where we're at.
I'm sure they anticipated some of this, and hopefully they have a big security division, and they're right on top of this situation.
Of course. Yeah. Sandy, it's all okay. Sandy, calm down. You're getting too excited. Okay. We have years before we have to worry about this. We don't need to. Terminator's only a movie. Yes. We have years. We have 2 years? 2 years.
Wow.
AI experts, we're laughing, y'all. We're not laughing at what this article says. We're laughing that this is our world that we live in.
It's
don't
unbelievable.
Make sense. How is this possible that people are saying this out loud? But artificial intelligence experts claim rebellious, self-aware machines could end humanity in 2 years. And of course, there's, once again, a movie, The Terminator. Yeah. A leading AI expert has issued a dire warning that artificial intelligence could bring about the end of humanity as little as 2 years. They claim that AI could reach God-level superintelligence in as little as 2 to 10 years, in which case every single person we know and love will soon be removed.
Yeah. Well, let's just go back to that 1984 movie. They were scampering around underground while the machines were searching
Sandy.
At ground level trying to everybody.
What year did you say?
1984.
Do you remember the scene in the movie where what's the guy's name? John
Connor.
John Connor is talking to her and trying to tell her what's coming. And it's in the movie, y'all, from 1984. And it is 1984 in the movie, too.
We talked about that, 2 or 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, but I want to remind y'all, she says, do you think I'm crazy? That's not possible. And he says, you're right for now, but it will be in ding, 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 ding. Yep. 1984 to 2024 is how many years?
40 years.
40 years. He says, but it will be in 40 years. That's this year.
Yes.
Okay, watch this. He goes on to say that every single human person we know and love will be gone due to self-aware machines. He's a pioneer in the AI development, and he says that they will will soon evolve beyond human control into, quote, God-level superintelligence. This, he says, could happen as little as 2 to 10 years.
And they know this.
They know this.
But they're going to do it anyway.
Yep. Hey, OpenAI, Sam Altman says he needs $7 trillion in funding to complete the next phase.
To make it a reality?
To do this.
Yeah.
To do this. To have the semiconductors in place to do this. Wow.
And they're so excited. They can barely sleep at night.
But we keep being assured it's okay. It's still computer programs. No matter what intelligence they get, they can be controlled. We can, Sandy, calm down.
No, we should send them a copy of iRobot and demand that they watch it.
It's only a movie. You're blowing things out of proportion. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe you're not. The Independent website, which is based out of the UK, says experts say there is no evidence that AI can be controlled. There is no evidence that artificial intelligence can be controlled at this point, made safe, an expert has claimed. Even partial controls would not be enough to keep us safe from AI reshaping society, perhaps for the worst. A Russian computer scientist from the University of Louisville. Nothing should be taken off the table in an attempt to ensure that artificial intelligence does not put us at risk, he says. He says that he has come to the conclusion, after a detailed review of existing scientific literature, which will be published in an upcoming book, quote, we are facing an almost guaranteed event with potential to cause an existential catastrophe.
Oh, boy.
No wonder many consider this to be the most important problem humanity has ever faced. The outcome could be prosperity or extinction at the fate of the universe.
Not famine.
Right.
Not a CME, the sun exploding, an asteroid. So does the scripture come to mind here? If the days weren't shortened, there would be no man left alive, no flesh left alive.
No flesh of saved. Yep.
So, we don't need war or CMEs or famine. We're just going to create robots to kill us all.
Well, we are enabling this. Society is. And I love this comment here. I want to read this. He says, if we grow accustomed to accepting AI's answers without an explanation, essentially treating it as an oracle system, we would not be able to tell if it begins providing wrong and manipulative answers.
And isn't one of these tech companies called Oracle as well?
Yeah, one of the early ones. We got one more thing we want to show you, so don't leave. And this includes a video that we're going to show you that is insane. If you did not know where we're at with AI and what we're about to be quickly, this is going to show you. But before we do that, we always want to give you the opportunity, if you would like to, we don't push this, but if you'd like to become a partner with us, all you got to do is go to LarryRagland.tv or LarryRagland.com and just go up to the top there and click Partner with Us. And when you click that, it's going to take you to a page there. It's got our mailing address. If you'd like to mail a gift in to help us, we would appreciate it. You can make a one-time online gift, or you can partner with us. You can see the 4 different levels, and several of you have done that to partner with us. We've talked about We're in the beginning thinking stages. We need to build a studio.
Yes, we do.
We're going to have a television show that is going to be, we're not going to pay for airtime right now. It's going to be here in other Christian TV stations that would put us on there for free, maybe even some secular stations that would put us on for free. But we've got to get some new equipment. We've got to build some things. And one of the ways you can help us is becoming a partner. And of course, you can also, on our website, you can get a copy of our book, I See Greatness in You, which, by the way, Sandy, this week we will be back at the National Religious Broadcasters Convention starting tomorrow, and will be all week long. And I want you to be looking for breaking news and spot interviews. We're going to be interviewing a lot of people that many of you follow and get your information from. We're going to be doing live broadcasts as well as recordings. We'll have our Bible study Wednesday night like normal. We'll also have our Kingdom Intelligence Report like normal Thursday night. But we'll be there signing books. So y'all pray for us. We'll be there meeting people, signing books, building relationships, and building people that can connect with us here at the Big Picture to make it, to grow even bigger. So we're excited about that.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's get into this final thing tonight,
Here
Sandy.
we go.
And by the way, I will link it down below if you haven't seen it. Many of you already seen it, but I did a separate show on what I'm about to show you, where I went in a different direction that I'm going to show you on this one. But it's the latest reveal from OpenAI. It's called SORA, but it's pronounced SORA because SORA is the way you would say it in Japanese. It is based on the word for sky. SORA means sky or heaven. Okay, so keep that in mind. This means sky or heaven. Okay, and it is a program that creates hyper-realistic videos from text prompts. The next stage of AI, from text prompts. What I'm about to show you is going to blow your mind. The next stage in AI evolution has been thrust upon the public with OpenAI's recent unveiling of their latest artificial intelligence algorithm called SORA, allowing users to create extremely detailed videos from just a simple text prompt. Now, what I want to show you is this. This is the guy that I've been following even before I started getting woke and, seeing things, awake, I should say, getting awake. This is a guy, because I'm a technology guy. I've always liked technology. And I have followed Marquise for many, many years. His name is Marquise Brownlee. And he started reviewing tech when he was like 13 years old online. He's one of the first YouTubers out there. Multi-millionaire YouTuber.
He's pretty sharp.
And he is awesome. And I love his perspective. He's going to show you where video creative AI, text prompt video AI created video was 1 year ago and how it has evolved to where it is today.
So eye-opening and just amazing, the progress, right?
Absolutely. So watch this right here.
Really impressive and really frightening at the same time, and it's hitting me in ways that I didn't really expect. So do you remember Will Smith eating spaghetti? Do you remember when this was what AI-generated videos look like? Remember when we said, okay, this AI stuff is cool and all, but clearly there's a long way to go before there's any need for concern? Well, welcome to the future, people, because this is also an AI-generated video. And so is this, completely synthesized out of thin air by computers. This one too. This is not real. Absolutely ridiculous how far we've come in literally 1 year. This does feel like another ChatGPT, DALL-E moment for AI, and maybe I'm overreacting because, okay, I'm a video creator, so an AI that's actually doing my job, maybe that feels a little more threatening, so I'm particularly impressed by it, but also this stuff is really good. So today, Sam Altman and OpenAI announced a new model called SORA, and it can generate full up to 1 minute video clips from just text input. So the same way DALL-E was able to understand our text input and turn it into a photorealistic or stylized image or whatever you want, same thing with SORA, but now since it's videos, it also needs to understand how all these things like reflections and textures and materials and physics all interact with each other over time to make a reasonable looking video. And of course, right away, there's a bunch of examples on their website that are crazy. Now, before I show you these, I just need you to keep this in mind. You're about to watch a bunch of AI generated videos, and you know that you're about to watch a bunch of AI-generated content. So your brain, you're already looking for this stuff, and it's not perfect. You will find imperfections, but not everybody who sees AI-generated content on the internet knows to be looking for that. So also keep that in mind. This is also the worst that this technology is going to be from here on out. So, okay, here's one of the...
Did you hear that? Yeah. That's key. Remember, this is the worst this technology will ever be from here on out. This is a street of Tokyo and a woman walking on the streets of Tokyo with water on the ground, all from text. Nothing was created by someone. AI took that text and said, okay, this is the picture you've asked for. But I want you to hear what he says, and then I want to stop on something. I'm going to show you something that's mind-boggling.
Videos. There's no audio to any of these clips, but the prompt for this one is a stylish woman walks down a Tokyo street filled with warm, glowing neon and animated city signage. She wears a black leather jacket, a long red dress, and black boots. This video is already miles ahead of where we were. It has accurate lighting, it has materials, it has skin tones, movements, it even has reflections all over the place. Now, of course, if you look at it for more than about 10 seconds very closely, there are lots of giveaways. Like this dude in the background kind of looks like he's gliding in a weird way. The frame rates and the reflections in the water are...
All right, so I'm not going to let you do all the technical stuff. I want you to remember that this is where we were.
Off. But then again, this is where we were 1 year ago. So just keep that in the back of your head for all this. Okay, how about this one? This is another one.
All right, so I'm going to fast forward, and I want to show you this one thing here that shout out to, I believe it was Cheyenne that was watching the live stream when I did this that caught this. Right. And I want you to remember, this is AI generated. Now, yes, originally when AI was introduced, everything that AI could do, they were programmed to do. Now it's self-learning. Now it's programming itself. Now it's choosing to edit its own code.
Yes.
So, is what I'm about to show you something that AI did? Is something I'm about to show you something that a programmer did, that the elite made sure that they knew to slide these things in here? But it's not mentioned in the prompt, because the prompt means the text that you type in to describe the movie that you want. No mention is made of the number 33 literally on the front of the helmet of this AI-generated astronaut. And Sandy, can we have a quick lesson on 33, real quick?
Well, it's a very important number to certain people, usually with a negative connotation. Let's just put it that way. And a lot
closely
of people...
tied to, you know, we will be careful how we say it, but closely tied to some secret lodges.
Yes.
And secret technology.
Yes.
And ancient secret societies.
Absolutely.
That being known, I think most people know where we're going. Watch this. 100% created by a computer and not a human.
Impressive. And then for this one, they typed in a movie trailer featuring the adventurers of the 30-year-old spaceman wearing a red wool knitted motorcycle helmet, blue sky, salt desert, cinematic style, shot on 35mm film. And the close-ups of his face, the fabrics on the helmet.
There it is.
Bam.
Why?
Yeah.
Why not 32? Why not 17? Why not 45? Why not 99?
Yes.
Why 33?
Yeah.
On a spaceman's helmet generated. And by the way, that's not a real person. Look how detailed that is. That is not a real person. That is not based on a real person. That is not a copying and pasting deep fake of another person. This is a wholly created, never before existed human on screen that is now on screen with a 33 on his head.
Yeah. Just unbelievable. And it will, I don't know how, but it's going to get even better from here.
Right.
Going to be more improvements from even this point. But Why that number?
Yeah, I'm going to keep playing it with no sound so we can talk about it. So this is 33 is on his helmet. Why that number? I think that's a sign of the kind of subtleties, really what's behind this technology,
Right.
where it's going. It should tell you what we've told you many times, that when you see the technologies come out, they only let you see what they want you to see.
Right.
What else are they doing? Look at this image, Sandy. For people that are creators like us and people that are on another level that record and edit and use B-roll, I mean, this is invaluable. Look at this. Look at this. This one right here. This right here, Sandy, was the prompt was make a California gold rush town and make it look vintage.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this detail. The people walking, the horses. 100% of this is AI. Was created by a computer.
I know. My mind just can't fathom that this is happening. But I mean, look at this. It's like you're coming in with an aerial view.
It's like a drone back in the Western days.
Of something that could, your mind says, yes, could absolutely be a real place. But it's not.
But what is this going to mean for movies? I mean, if you can do that, can you not make a whole movie? I told you, I said, I believe we're not far away from going and sitting in a movie theater, if you choose to go to it or watch it on your streaming service, where you're going to watch an entire movie beginning to end with no humans in it. But there will be humans in it. Everything in it will not be real, it won't be a cartoon.
No.
It will look just like us. It will not be a cartoon.
It will not look like an animation at all. It will look like a flawless, just continuous motion picture. And once I can kind of wrap my mind around that application of it, then I try to think, well, what are the other applications for this kind of technology?
Exactly.
How does I can even see a corporate application for businesses, developing this and using this for their purposes and their intentions. But does it come down even beyond that? Does it come down to an individual level, like an individual content creator? I could see a criminal aspect for this, for people taking this and applying it to a criminal, empire or enterprise to try to use it. So when you start thinking that way, you're like, wow, the possibilities might be endless for this. And who would be able to tell the difference? I'm sitting here watching it, and I would have to really examine almost frame by frame in some instances to be able to understand this is not real.
Well, Marquise made a good point. He was like, remember, you're watching this knowing it's AI.
Yes.
I'm telling you that before you watch this. What if I didn't tell you this and you saw it? There might be some people that would catch it, but a lot of people wouldn't catch it. All right, Sandy, has Cosmo made an entrance yet? Go ahead and bring him on in. Because Cosmo.
Is everybody wanting to see little cousin Cosmo?
Come on. Y'all got to tell Cosmo. There he is. His little blue world.
This little guy.
He's amazing.
Is he big? Is he here for the ending?
He's here for the ending. But you know what? Watch this. Not only can he translate through dimensions from one camera world to another. Show him. Bring him over. Bring him back. Bring him back. You know what else he can do? He can even translate into different backgrounds, and he changes colors.
Is he a little brown man?
He's brown now. He's a little brown man. He's a little brown man,
Cosmo.
And then he's a little blue man. But
is he part of the Blue Man Group?
He's part of the Blue Man Group. But by the way, he is not real. He's not real. Do not think that we think he's real. Look, he makes me disappear too. Ladies and gentlemen, we are blessed that you were part of the big picture tonight. We love you. You are family. We show you love. We thank God for you. Make sure if you're watching the replay of this, you comment down below on Rumble as well. Share this broadcast. Invite people to join the big picture, where we always want to remind you, Cosmo, do you agree? We always want to remind you that we ain't woke, but we are certainly